welcome you here to our City Council meeting this evening and call our meeting to order. We note for the record that all council members are present, full quorum. We will begin our meeting with the opening ceremony by Councilman Lars Northfeld.
If everyone could just join me in giving the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Nordfeld. Next, we have on our agenda our proclamations, and we have two of those this evening, which will be followed by public comment. So we will begin with recognizing Councilman Steve Bueller to introduce and read the proclamation recognizing April 2014 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in West Valley City. Councilman Bueller.
Thank you, Mayor. A proclamation recognizing April 2014 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. Whereas West Valley City's greatest asset is our children, all children deserve to grow up in a safe and nurturing environment to assure they reach their full potential. And whereas child abuse is a serious problem affecting over 3,400 in the Salt Lake Valley annually. And whereas child abuse respects no racial, religious, socioeconomic, or geographic boundaries. And whereas all citizens of West Valley City should become more aware of child abuse and its prevention within their respective communities, and to actively encourage and support parents to raise their children in a safe and nurturing environment. And whereas decreasing the occurrence of child abuse depends upon the efforts of each of us in order to make a positive and substantial impact on the children of today who will grow up to be the leaders of tomorrow. Now therefore, we the Mayor and City Council of West Valley City, Utah do hereby proclaim April 2014 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in West Valley City and call upon our citizens to become aware of the impact of child abuse and to join in working for its prevention within our communities.
Thank you. Any other comments from the council? I know we do have someone here who in the public comment section will speak to this as well. Next, and we'll come to that in a moment, we go to our proclamation declaring April 2014 as Fair Housing Month in West Valley City. Tom.
Thank you, Mayor. A proclamation declaring April 2014 as Fair Housing Month in West Valley City, whereas the month of April 2014 has been designated as National Fair Housing Month by the Department of Housing and Urban Development. And whereas April marks the 46th anniversary of the passage of the Federal Fair Housing Law, the Title 8 of the Civil Rights Act of 1968, as amended, which initiates a national policy of fair housing without regard to race, color, national origin, religion, sex, financial status, or disability, and encourages fair housing opportunities for all citizens. And whereas the city of West Valley City receives a direct allocation from the Department of Housing and Urban Development Community Development Program for the development of affordable housing and public services in the city. Now, therefore, we, the Mayor and City Council of West Valley City, Utah, do hereby declare April 2014 as Fair Housing Month in West Valley City.
Thank you. Any comments from the council? Then we will go right into our public comment period. And we have here with us Bonnie Peters, who is going to speak. If you would come and state your name and address for the record, and then we'll you'll take your few minutes to comment.
My name is Bonnie Peters, and my home address is 176 MacArthur Avenue in Salt Lake City. I'm here to represent the Family Support Center, and I really appreciate the fact that West Valley City recognizes the importance of having April listed as Child Abuse Prevention Month. And unfortunately, as you mentioned, Councilman, 3,400 children were abused in this past year in the Salt Lake Valley. That's way too many, but I'm heartened to say that it is getting lower. It is about 100 children lower than it was before. And so we've seen a decline in the past couple of years. And so I'd like to think that maybe in part that's because we have our crisis nursery out here now in West Valley City. And we're able to serve a lot of people out here. And it makes such a difference. And of course that is a 24/7 crisis nursery. So again, I thank you. We put these proclamations on the wall in our office, and they mean a lot to us because, again, our mission is to protect children, strengthen families, and prevent child abuse. So thank you again for your recognition of this important month, and we will be doing some other things that we will send out information on to celebrate this month. And so thank you. Are there any questions that you have of what we do or anything?
There will be an opportunity for them to comment if they so desire.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. City Manager, then, any comments for the council? Then to the council for any comments. Councilman Bueller.
Thank you, Mayor. I do want to, since Ms. Peters mentioned the crisis nursery, just say what a great asset I think that is. What a great idea. I don't know who came up with that, but I have referred people to that nursery when they needed to know what they could do when they're at the end of their rope. And I appreciate having that in our community and in my district, in my neighborhood there. Thank you.
Further comments? Thank you very much. Next, we're down to item 7 on our agenda, and this is to consider ordinance 14-20, amending the budget of West Valley City for our current fiscal year ending June 30th. And so, Mr. Isaac, as our Assistant City Manager, any introductory comments you want to make on this?
Just to clarify to the council that we hold these public hearings quarterly now to amend the budget. As the mayor said, this amendment just reflects the changes to the actual revenues and expenditures that occur from time to time that actually amends the budget for fiscal 2013-14.
Okay, then we'll open this for a public hearing. I declare the hearing open for public comment. Is there anyone here to comment on this? Well, let's see. No? Okay. There's one here and not here to speak on this issue. Therefore, I will declare the public hearing portion of this closed and go to the council for comment or action. Councilman Nordfeld.
Mayor, I move for approval of ordinance number 14-20, amending the budget.
We have a motion before us. Do we have a second? Okay. Councilperson Lang has seconded that. The motion is properly before us. Any discussion to this motion? Well, perhaps Mr. Isaac, the changes in this budget were discussed last week. I was not here, but my understanding is that have all of these items been previously discussed with the council? In other words, we're going to have some resolutions immediately following this, which will ultimately affect changes in the budget, which will appear in May, I think, scheduled for.
Yeah.
And I learned, after some discussions, that the approval that we give on those resolutions is a preliminary approval, not the official final approval. For these resolutions that we will do next. This that we're acting on right now is the final approval to actually authorize, according to state law, the expenditure of those funds. I'm still investigating why they're kind of separate and how we can maybe get them closer together, but that's a discussion for another time. So we have it before us. No further discussion? Then we'll place the motion for a vote. All in favor of approving ordinance number 14-20, amending West Valley City's budget for the current fiscal year, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The motion passes unanimously. Next, we have 5 resolutions, all of them related to budget items. And not being here last week, I didn't hear the discussion, but I have reviewed those items on our agenda and the supporting documentation. And so these are not consent items, are they? So we'll take them one at a time. First, 14-44, the approval of the purchase of 3 vehicles from Henry Day Ford for our police department. Mr. Isaac, any comments you want to add to this item that was previously discussed last week?
I don't believe so, sir.
Any comments from the council? Then to the council for action. Councilman Rushton.
Mayor, I would move approval of Resolution 1444.
We have a motion before us. Do we have a second?
Second the motion.
Councilman Bueller seconds the motion. Motion is properly before us. Any discussion?
I'll just add that during the discussion last week, we had talked about our police department, the fleet being rolled over and converted from the Crown Vics that were most notable in many police forces to these interceptor vehicles, and the preliminary reports are is that they're as advertised, and the police force has been able to use them and to satisfaction, or met or exceeded expectations, and so we'll continue with that fleet program. And it is with a local car supplier also, which is also a win for the city.
I also note that 2 of these are replacing vehicles that will be surplus, but a third one will be moved down to replace another vehicle, which will then become surplus, which obviously must have greater mileage and maintenance concerns than the one that's being replaced. Although the question would obviously be, if it's still being used, why is it being replaced? So maybe Mr. Isaac could address that. That was probably discussed last week.
They go into our pool cars, and sometimes we use those other cars that have that kind of mileage on them to basically to help us in other departments where we need them. But they're not necessarily fit to be police vehicles, for example.
Okay, that's the clarification we needed. Why it was being moved down, but not replaced individually as it was. So, okay. Thank you very much. Then, further discussion? Seeing none, let's see. Yeah, we haven't voted on this yet. Yeah, when you shake your head.
Sorry.
Yeah, it don't signals right.
We asked if you had a motion in a second.
We have a motion and a second before us. Councilman Rushton and then Councilman Bueller, I believe it was the second. All those in favor of this motion to approve the purchase of 3 vehicles for our police department, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passes unanimously. We now have resolution 14-45 to approve an agreement with JUB Engineers for professional engineering services for the design of the bridge deck rehabilitation work on Parkway Boulevard over 3100 South, or the 3100 South overpass over I-215. Anything that needs to be added there on this item that was previously discussed last week?
Sir?
No further items. And to the council, any comments or action?
Mayor, I move for approval of resolution Resolution 1445.
Okay, Councilman Bisson placed the motion before us to approve this resolution. Do we have a second?
Second.
Councilman Hume has a second on that. The motion is properly before us. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll place the motion for a vote. All those in favor of approving Resolution 14-45 for professional engineering services for Parkway Boulevard 3100 South over I-215, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passes unanimously. We now move to resolution number 14-46 to authorize the execution and delivery of a master lease agreement, equipment schedule number 7, an escrow agreement and related instruments, and determine other matters in connection therewith. I got to look at that one again. Mr. Isaac, any comments on this one?
Well, just to clarify, sir, this resolution and the two resolutions to follow deal with essentially the same thing, but this particular one is presented to the council to enter in and authorize the execution of a delivery of a lease of purchase agreement with SunTrust Company, which we originally entered into back in 2011. And as we pay off, as we buy equipment and needed other types of things that we need, we enter into these ongoing lease agreements. We pay the leases off, and then we, as you're going to see tonight, we enter into new purchasing agreements with other equipment, but use the same company, SunTrust Equipment. So what's before you is just to execute that part of that agreement, and then the next resolutions will actually will ask the council as a staff to approve the purchase of equipment from that lease.
So this is essentially replacing leases that were paid off on similar equipment, and we're now replacing that with newer equipment also to be leased.
That's correct.
Okay, to the council then, for comment or action.
And as I understand the conversation last week, because we are combining these, we get a better interest rate of the 1.58. So with that, I would move for approval of resolution 14-56 or 46.
Councilman Lang has made the motion.
Second.
Councilman Rushton has seconded that motion. The motion is properly before us. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll place it for a vote. All those in favor of approving resolution 14-46 for the lease agreement as explained, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passes unanimously. We'll now go to resolution 14-47, which is a continuation of this, the one part of the lease of the two that was combined for 2 ambulance cabs and chassis for use by the fire department. Mr. Isaac, anything additional we have to bring up there on this item that was also previously discussed?
No, sir.
To the council then, for action or comment. Councilman Bueller.
Thank you, Mayor. We had success with the same sort of project last year, refurbishing an ambulance instead of replacing an ambulance. And it's a cost savings to the city, and we get just as good equipment for the fire department. And I'm glad to see it coming up on our agenda actually to do it to 2 more ambulances. And with that comment, would move for approval of resolution 14-47.
Motion before us is properly approved. If there's a second, Councilman Hume.
Second.
We have the second before us. The motion is properly presented. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll place the motion to approve Resolution 14-47 to approve the purchase of 2 ambulance cabs and chassis for the fire department. Please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passes unanimously. Next, we go to Resolution 14-48, approve the purchase of ground maintenance equipment for the Stonebridge Golf Course from a couple of vendors. Any further information there, Mr. Isaac, on items that we discussed last week?
No, sir.
Then to the council for comment or action.
Mayor, move for approval of Resolution 1448.
We have a motion to approve before us. Do we have a second?
Second.
Councilman Lang has the second. We have the motion properly before us. Any further discussion? Then with that, we'll place the motion for a vote. All those in favor of approving Resolution 14-48 for the purchase of ground maintenance equipment for the Stonebridge Golf Course, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passes unanimously. Now, these that were approved tonight were not included in our previous budget motion. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Because they were not here in time. Those have to be done ahead of time and require some preparation work. So we will see these items and perhaps some subsequent ones appear in our next budget hearing for approval. We don't believe we have a need for an executive session.
No, sir.
Any further items from the council? Seeing none, we'll take one last motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Councilman Bueller. Motion to adjourn is before us. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passes unanimously. We are adjourned.
Okay, hereby call to order the regular meeting of the West Valley City Redevelopment Agency here on Tuesday, April 1st. And note we've had an opening ceremony, and the roll call should show that all members of the board are present. Item 4 on our agenda is the minutes of our March 4th, 2014 regular meeting for your consideration.
Mr. Chair, I would move for approval of the minutes with one correction, and that is there is a board member identified at the meeting, at that meeting March 4th as Corey Vincent. And I think it was Steve Vincent. With that correction, move for approval of the minutes.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the minutes as amended. Is there any further discussion of that motion? Okay.
I would accept you into my family.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I would, yeah. We'll talk about it later, Dad. All in favor of approving the minutes as amended, say aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Any communications or report of our acting chief executive officer tonight?
No, sir.
Okay, then, Mr. Isaac, will you introduce our public hearing that we have scheduled for tonight for us?
Thank you. This is to approve a resolution to reopen the fiscal year 2013-14 budget for the purpose of making amendments to reflect changes in the actual expenditures and revenues of the RDA. I believe there's only one item on this, and that was to take care of the salary increases that took place last year.
Okay, I'll open the public hearing. Does any member of the public come to discuss or give the RDA any input regarding Resolution 1402, amending the budget of the redevelopment agency beginning July 1st, 2013 and ending June 30th, 2014? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, and board members, this item is now before you for action.
I have
Mr. Bigelow.
on this, you said that it was to complete salary increase from last year. Are you referring to the last fiscal year?
Well, since essentially July 1 in this fiscal year, sometimes we have employees that are actually, some of their salaries are supplemented by the RDA. And so this particular amendment is just to I think, transfer $2,000.
Yeah,
In-
but
to
isn't
do
it
that.
in the current?
Yes,
It's in the current budget?
That's correct.
Here. That was just a clarification because you said last year, and I think it was contemplated last year, but it's in our current budget. That was
fiscal
approved.
2013-14, yes.
Okay, thank you. With that, I guess I'd move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve Resolution 1402. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion is to approve Resolution 1402. Is there any discussion to that motion? Seeing none, we'll call the question and ask all those in favor to please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution and motion passes unanimously. Now we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, all in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
This body will stand adjourned.
Call to order the regular meeting of the West Valley City Housing Authority. Note that we've had an opening ceremony and all members of this body are present. Item 4 on the agenda is the minutes of March 4th, 2014.
Chairman Bueller, I'd make a motion that we accept the minutes of March 14th, 2014 regular meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Vincent.
Second?
Thank you, Ms. Lang. Any discussion of the motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Isaac, any communications or report of the executive director?
No, sir.
And we have a public hearing scheduled for tonight. Would you please introduce that, Mr. Isaac?
Thank you, sir. This is also to amend the budget of the Housing Authority of West Valley City for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2013 and ending on June 30 of 2014 to reflect changes in the budget and the expenditures and revenues.
And I'll open the public hearing if anyone's come to speak on this matter. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and bring the matter back to this body.
Chair,
Yes, Mr. Bigelow.
I move that we approve this resolution 14-01 amending the budget for West Valley City Housing Authority.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And we have one last motion.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.
Thank you, council.
Thank you. Seven o'clock.
I want to thank you for bringing to the city council the Steve Truck. And Home Bell, Hudson Bell talks and I think they been struggling to get city council. So